Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
We have multiple questions about Sunnah prayers, what we call rawatib, the regular voluntary prayers. And let's start by, what is the importance of the Sunnah prayer?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walahu ba'd. First of all, the Sunnah prayer or the volunteer prayers, salawat al-manduba, it is something that you will be rewarded if you do it, and you will not be sinful if you miss it or you don't do it. But we've been encouraged to follow the way of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, part of his way and part of his what he ordained for us, what he practiced sallallahu to pray these extra prayers beyond the 5 daily prayers, which they are obligated on us as Muslims. And في البخاري, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَا زَالَ عَبْدِي يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ بِالنَّوَافِلِ حَتَّى أُحِبَّهُ. My servant will continue offer these volunteer acts until he will gain my love.
Okay.
And when you receive Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's love, you became, everything in your life will be around Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala,
Yes.
because you love him so much. When you love someone so much, all your life be around that person. When you love your kids a lot, you work so you can provide for them, you care for them, you spend time with them, same thing. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really became the center of your life, your life will be around Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and when He loves. And that will happen when you do these extra volunteer acts. That will take you to that level of Iman, which is one of the highest level of Iman. And Qubaysah ibn Hurayth, or Hurayth ibn Qubaysah, both mentioned, he said, I came to Medina and I said, Ya Allah, urzuqni jalisan salihan, Allah, grant me a companion who is righteous. Then he said, I found in the masjid Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. Then he said to Abu Hurairah, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I will find a companion, a righteous companion who will benefit me. ينفعني الله به. So tell me something that will benefit me. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said, I'll tell you. I heard the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the first thing the person will be asked about in the Day of Judgment is salah. And if it's complete, Allah will say to the angels, look at the rest of his deeds. And if it's incomplete, Allah will say, look, هل لعبدي من تطوع من نافلة? Does my servant have any extra volunteer act to make up the missing prayer? And missing prayers here, it could be you didn't pray it on time, you forgot that you prayed completely, or you prayed incorrectly and you didn't remember that you did. Maybe it's 3 rak'ah, you thought it's 4. Also incomplete because you didn't focus on the salah. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you pray and you get out of your prayer 10% or 2/3 or 1/3. It depends on how much you focus. So there's missing the part of the salah. So that extra volunteer act of worship and prayers will make up the missing part. And if not, Allah will say, let him be purified in hellfire. This hadith reported by Tirmidhi. So, knowing that, it will encourage us to pray. We should take every advantage. We take advantage of every moment of our life. Every time that we have an opportunity to do a volunteer act, we should do. And in Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, in his time, as Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah once said, he said, not ever recorded once in history of the time of the Prophet, not a single time. The Prophet told the Sahaba, do this. And one Sahabi said, Ya Rasulullah, is this wajib or sunnah? Is this wajib or volunteer?
Yeah.
Is this haram or just dislike? No. كان يقع كل هذا منهم موقعا واحدا موقع القبول والانقياد يقول ابن القيم. He said all the time the Sahaba radiallahu anhum will deal with the orders of the Prophet ﷺ in the same manner. Doesn't matter, it is a volunteer, it's obligatory. This classification came later on to make the picture clear. But when it comes to what the Muslim should be doing, should care about everything. Because that's the way of Rasulullah
Everything that the
sallallahu
Prophet
alaihi wasallam.
did, yes.
Yes, you care about, you do as much as you can.
Right.
And we know that Salat al-Nafila, the volunteer prayer, some of them have a huge amount of reward. And you can imagine if I tell you today, what do you think if you get the wealth of the world? Can you imagine the wealth of the world? Money, gold, land, kingdom, cars, you name it. All the wealth in the world, stocks, Bitcoin, you name it, all you have it.
Big house.
Whatever you think of.
House by the lake.
Whatever you think of.
Right.
Islands, So can you imagine all this for you? يقول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لركعتي الفجر خير من الدنيا وما فيها.
And that's not the fard.
Yeah, the 2 rak'ahs for Fajr, the volunteer prayer, better than everything in the face of this earth.
Subhanallah.
Better than all this wealth. It's just amazing. Sometimes when I read this hadith, I close my eyes. This famous picture of Earth going around itself from the space? The whole entire Earth going around. And I could see the Earth going around itself, full circle. And I see this beautiful Earth. This 2 rak'ah better than this whole thing.
Right.
Everything in the face of the earth. Out. And that's just the 2 rak'ah of Sunnah al-Fajr. So that's why I really highly recommend my brothers and sisters to care for a Sunnah, especially Sunnah al-Fajr, Sunnah al-Witr, which is you pray the witr.
Yeah.
One, the minimum, but 3 or 5 or 7 or 9 or 11. The Prophet ﷺ used to pray 11 rak'ah. Make sure there is also 4 rak'ah before Dhuhr and 2 rak'ah after Dhuhr. There is 2 rak'ah after Maghrib and there is 2 rak'ah after Isha. These are, if you calculate, these will be at least 12 rak'ahs. And if you do these 12 rak'ahs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala built for you a house in Jannah. And that means what? In this life, we know that your value, your asset goes up by how many property you own. And can you imagine you have all these properties in Jannah? I have something to claim.
It comes with all its amenities.
Yeah. It means I have a higher status, I have a place to claim. Sometimes hey, I own a property, for example, in Spain. So when I go to Spain, I said, I don't own, but I'm just saying. Or I know, for example, families own properties in California. They're from overseas. So every time they apply for a visa or they come to the United States, and what bring you to the United States? I have a house in California. Okay. You have a reason for you to be here.
Right, yeah.
It gives you an advantage over other people. Some countries even give you green card and the residency if you own a property in their land. Owning something, you gained this property in Jannah. You have a claim, something to claim there. It inspires you to do more good. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those who inherit paradise.
I want to add something because I was thinking about, there are 2 things that I thought about when you were answering. One is, I think the Sunnah prayer is a shield to the obligatory prayer.
Yes,
I don't find any problem praying the obligatory prayer. The shaitan doesn't come and stop me. Maybe he will tell me, pray it later. Maybe he will try to convince me to, but he will never ever put in my mind that I should not pray it. But he really does, he's persistent, or she, I don't know, persistent to make me feel like, you don't need to pray these extra prayers, right? So he attacks the Sunnah prayers for you, so you can go and be lenient and easy on them, and then he will attack the Fard prayer once you have neglected completely the Sunnah prayer.
It's like a wall, protection wall.
I think because he's our enemy, I think the way that he comes to you to prevent you from doing something good, I think is what you should be doing.
Yep.
Right? So that's one thing. The other thing is when you said, you know, حتى أحبه, until I love him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about his servant. And when you said that Allah becomes the major focus of your life, that means, I mean, we all love Allah, but many of us, Allah is not the major focus of our life, even though we love him dearly, and maybe more than anything, yes. But I think the point here is that he loves us.
Yeah, the
And once
point
he
to be
loves
loved,
us, he
not
will,
just to love.
yeah, he guides us to become his focal point.
No.
Your focal point. He is the one that you focus on the most. So one of Allah's signs that he loves you is that you have taqwa of him, that you always
And then you
think
do
of
the
him.
volunteer prayers, and
Right,
you love
exactly.
to do this, and you're consistent on them.
But-
That's one of the signs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the person.
Exactly, that's a very
To
good one.
elevate
Right.
your level in Jannah, it bring you closer to
Right.
him and so forth.
Right, right.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh.
Right, yeah.
Excellent point.
Barakallah feek.
Jazakallah khair.
Thank you, Sheikh.